Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mary Beth Kwatniewski, and Andrea, do you want to kick us off?
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea Tarr. I'm the Program Director at SCAN, and welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. As always, we have two excellent presenters for you. Let me just mention to our listeners out there that there is a chat feature at the bottom of your screen. And while the presenters are speaking, you're welcome. If you have a question, you're welcome to put it in there. And we'll be monitoring the chat. And as time permits, we will do our very best to answer all of your questions. So Mary Beth, take it away.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Beth Kwatniewski. I'm the Program Coordinator here at SCAN. Thank you for joining us. Our first presentation is by Captain McCafferty. I'll ask her to come. Actually, she's not on camera with us today. That's why we had a late start. We had some technical difficulties. So you're going to hear Captain McCafferty speaking. She is a registered dietitian with CareOne. So Captain McCafferty, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Mary Beth. It's a pleasure to be here. Good afternoon to everyone. Calling in from CareOne at Wall. Just a brief background. I've been here at CareOne at least 15 years, going on 16. So I've got some history here in the building, and I am local to the area and absolutely love where I work in this beautiful facility, CareOne at Wall. So thank you for the opportunity this afternoon. Yes, I am a captain. I'm still active in the United States Navy. I currently serve as the deputy for Naval Medical Forces Pacific, and that is my reserve duty. So again, I just wanted to welcome everyone and add that the combination of CareOne at Wall with my duties with the United States Navy is just a blessing. It has just been a wonderful pairing. I've been in approximately 28.5 years, and CareOne has been so supportive of my duties throughout the years. So good afternoon and welcome to Healthy Eating, Back to Basics. Absolutely love to talk about nutrition and love to talk about food. Today, I want to highlight a couple of different topics. I'm going to start off talking a little bit about our dietary guidelines. I'll then move into some ways to boost our immune system. I'll talk a little bit about stress. I also want to highlight some options for takeout, which is very popular here in the past few months with COVID, and give you some tips on that. And finally, I'll talk about 4 types of food to help us support our memory. I do welcome questions, and we will be monitoring the chat. So we'll start off with the healthy eating, again, back to basics for our population, our older population or older adults. These recommendations come directly from the dietary guidelines, and most recently, I had an opportunity to attend FNCE. FNCE is the Food and Nutrition Conference and Expo. It was held virtually, but it was really a terrific event for a few days. So the literature that I'm sharing with you is very current. Our goal as registered dietitians is to talk about balance and to talk about all the food groups. So the healthy eating plan and our recommendations for dietary guidelines is to emphasize a variety of food groups. Fruits and vegetables, first and foremost. Terrific group to look at, frozen, fresh, or canned. And I want to emphasize that you can look at all varieties there, frozen, fresh, or canned. Our emphasis as dietitians is to eat the darker vegetables, dark green leafy vegetables. Examples of those include leafy greens, broccoli, and orange, some of our orange vegetables, which are carrots and sweet potatoes. Higher nutrient content as well as higher fiber. We'll talk a little bit more about my plate in this session, but I do want to emphasize the fruits and vegetables can be fresh, frozen, or canned. As far as our protein, an important product here for not just our energy, but our daily living. Again, our balance, right? The protein selections that we're recommending as dietitians are fish, eating more fish. Again, that could be in the form of tuna, beans and peas. We will talk about more protein sources throughout the morning here. When we get into whole grains and carbohydrates, breads, crackers, cereal, rice, pasta, our recommendation is to try to choose whole grains whenever possible. And the key for that term that I want you to look at when you're shopping is whole wheat, 100% whole wheat. The benefits will be fiber, which will keep you full. It will keep your body in check. And in addition, it will keep that cholesterol in check. When we talk about dairy, another food group, our recommendations are low fat, fat-free. And again, these products we want to ensure are fortified with vitamin D. And you'll see that right on the label. That keeps our bones healthy. Milk, yogurt, and cheese represent that category. Fats, which is a difficult group because folks usually don't have a good idea of what, especially when we're talking about eating out, what is prepared or how it's prepared and what type of fat. Our recommendation as dietitians is to avoid those solid fats, those fats that we use, especially when they're in the Crisco can and you're baking. That's okay for the holidays coming up, but for the most part, we would prefer you to use the polyunsaturated. How we keep our immune system healthy and how we give our body extra protection with the winter coming on, and of course, throughout this time of COVID. What are some foods that will immune support nutrients or give us that boost? I mentioned fruits and vegetables at the beginning, and let me just emphasize citrus fruits, berries, melons, tomatoes, bell peppers, broccoli. I keep bringing up broccoli. Vitamin D, I mentioned that again. Those are found in the milk and 100% juice. So another tip and a takeaway with juices, make sure the label reflects 100% juice. As far as zinc, another immune supporting nutrient, zinc, that is actually found in beef and seafood, but also in vegetarian sources such as wheat germ, beans, nuts, and tofu. You've heard the term probiotics. Probiotics are what we call a good type of bacteria that promotes health. They're found in cultured dairy products such as yogurt and fermented food. Some of you may have heard of this product. It's called kimchi. It's really just vegetables that are fermented, and they actually taste quite good. Our protein, again, another area that we want to emphasize on improving and playing a role in our immune system. Plant and animal-based sources from protein, milk, yogurt, eggs, beef, chicken, seafood, nuts, seeds, beans, and lentils. The best way to keep your immune system healthy is to focus on that balanced eating plan. Another tip, sleeping and stress management. The recommendation, again, from the American Dietetic Association is sleeping 7 to 9 hours a day. Lack of sleep can contribute to a variety of health concerns, and it can include a weakened immune system. Healthy ways to cope with stress, music, writing, and physical activity. And we'll talk a little bit about physical activity in a few minutes. There is not a lot of research that actually links certain nutrients to stress management. However, in order for our brain to function properly and normally, vitamin B is the nutrient that we should be focusing on. Quite honestly, foods that are providing vitamin B are your whole grains. Again, we talk about fruits, vegetables, dairy, beans, and meats. So these are all the foods that are associated with vitamin B. Research again, is there anything out there that will combat stress? Is there a vitamin or mineral supplement? Again, lots of research, but it is limited as far as evidence supporting supplements. Our recommendation is to choose a balanced, healthful eating pattern, eating style. And sometimes foods people search for or opt for, if they're stressed, they're looking for crunchy foods and they may crave that. Our recommendation, again, as dietitians, try to look at options such as carrots and celery or plain popcorn. That will give you that crunch and munch sensation and will not put on those extra calories. A couple of tips for eating out and takeout. So a lot happening with takeout and delivery. A lot of folks staying home and ordering in. Couple of key words I'd like you to focus on. When you see terms such as crunchy, crispy, battered, breaded, creamy, cheesy, and Alfredo, bottom line, higher fat, higher calorie. Limit those items that are fried and try to get those sauces served on the side. Our recommendations are looking for terms such as baked, grilled, roasted, steamed. We also, as dietitians, like the term marinara and al fresco. Consider steamed vegetables or fruit as a side option. And please rethink your drink. A lot of those calories from sugar-sweetened beverages add up quickly and provide very little nutritional value. Choose options such as water, low-fat milk, fat-free milk, unsweetened coffee, and unsweetened tea. Our recommendation for ordering takeout is asking for sauces and dressings on the side. That will help control how much actually goes on your food. And instead of eating out of the container, plate your food for a more appropriate portion when the serving sizes are large. You can also save part of that meal for later. Another tip for ordering out and takeout is ensuring that you've included all the food groups. And let me just re-emphasize a couple of those food groups I talked about at the beginning. We talked about fruits and vegetables. Our recommendation for my plate is to fill, if you can believe this, half the plate with fruits and vegetables. The fruits should be, again, the more color, I talked about vegetables at the beginning, the more color, the higher nutritional value. So with fruits such as blueberries, tangerines, strawberries, those are some very deep colors, lots of fiber, lots of vitamin C. With vegetables, spinach, broccoli, carrots. So that's going to be half the plate. The other quarter of the plate will be the protein. And I mentioned fish earlier, of course, chicken and lean sources of meat. And when you have a moment, just take a quick second to look at the palm size of your hand. Draw a circle in that palm size of your hand. That's about the size of the protein or the portion size that you need on your plate. For grains, that's your carbohydrates. Fill only 1/4 of your plate with the grains. Brown rice, whole wheat pasta, or whole wheat grain bread. Those are some ideas of filling my plate. I'll stand by for just a few moments for questions, but I can tell you there is a lot in the media. I know everyone watches television, reads magazines. Please just get back to basics. Our recommendation as a dietitian, small frequent meals, Don't go any more than 4 to 5 hours without having something to eat or drink with a good balance of nutrition. So I want to thank you so much for inviting us this afternoon. Happy to answer any questions.
Hi, Captain McCafferty. It's Mary Beth. I do have one question here. It says, does a high sugar intake impact our immune system?
I think that's an excellent question, Mary Beth. Thank you for that. Unfortunately, high sugar will not do so many great things. It will increase calories. Therefore, it will convert to weight gain, unless, of course, you're doing a lot of physical activity. It will give you that sweet tooth, and perhaps some studies have shown some of our higher sugar products and even some of our diet products increase our desire for more sugar. So I am a firm believer in not eliminating any foods. If you want a small piece of cake or a small brownie, have it with the meal so it remains balanced. The brownie or the big piece of chocolate cake by itself is not recommended. It could actually do some more damage. You'll probably take a larger portion size than you normally would. So my recommendation, don't skip a meal. You can have it in a small amount and have it with a combination meal, balanced meal.
Okay. I'm actually going to ask a question that came up in our diabetes self-management class the other night. Again, talking about intake of carbohydrates, and they had asked if increasing the amount of protein you're having in that meal could help to offset that. Is that a trend that some people are reading about? And obviously, it wasn't.
And Mary Beth, that's an excellent question. It is a trend. The protein does keep us fuller. And it does, it is recommended protein with each meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I caution folks, because again, additional protein can put stress on other body organs, and you don't want to eliminate the carbohydrate. What you want to do is have half that plate with the fruit and the vegetable. And some of our folks may say, well, fruit, it's natural sugar, it's not good for diabetes. Yes, it is. It's okay. It's a food group. You just need to balance it. So I would recommend sticking with that theme of trying to keep the portion size about drawing that circle in the palm size of your hand, having protein, eggs, egg whites, at breakfast, cottage cheese, yogurt, all have rich in protein, along with a protein at lunch and protein at dinner, but combining it with a carbohydrate, a fruit, a vegetable, and a dairy will lead to successful blood sugars. But yes, I circle back. The protein will keep you full, but don't eliminate that carbohydrate. Don't eliminate that carbohydrate.
Wonderful. Yeah, it all comes down to balance with everything in life, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That is all the questions I'm seeing in the chat. So I appreciate your spending some time with us this afternoon. And I apologize again. We've had some people asking, where's the video? And I said, Captain McCafferty is a beautiful speaker. Just tune in and use those ears today. So thank you so much for joining us. And we hope you have a good holiday season.
Thank you so much, Mary Beth. What a pleasure. Have a great day,
Okay.
everyone.
Thank you so much. Okay. Okay, so thank you so much to Captain McCafferty, Sandra Vega, who some of us will recognize when she comes on screen, our friend from Horizon. Hello, Sandra.
Hi, everybody.
We know Sandra from doing all our wonderful screenings at our in-person events, so it's great to see you in person. So Sandra,
thank you.
I'm going to hand it over to you. I'm going to make sure that you have the ability to share your screen.
Okay.
All right. Perfect.
Yes, there we go. Sorry. Okay. Can you hear me? And you can see
Yeah,
the power.
you're good. Perfect.
All right, great. Great. Let me minimize this. Okay. So hi, everyone, and thank you for having me today. And like Mary Beth said, my name is Sandra Vega, and I am with Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield. I've been there for 4 years now out of my RN career. I started off, of course, in the hospital as a staff nurse. And like I said, I've been with Horizon for about 4 years now. So today we're going to talk about diabetes, some of the risks and prevention. And this is perfect timing because this is Diabetes Awareness Month. So perfect for us, right? All. So I'd like to start off with talking about, or just asking the question, what is diabetes, right? So diabetes is a disease that does not have a cure, but can be controlled by managing your weight, by eating healthier, by including physical activity in your daily routines, by taking the medications that are prescribed to you, and also by having those regular healthcare visits with your doctors. It also means that diabetes is a problem with your body that causes the blood glucose or sugar levels to rise higher than normal. So it also can be referred to as hyperglycemia. Again, that means high blood sugar levels. And what I also want to share is that most of the food that we eat is broken down into sugar and released into the bloodstream. So you can see in the little, in this slide here that, you know, healthy, if someone's healthy, they're eating, the food is processed, and then it creates or triggers the pancreas to produce insulin that's going to help regulate or keep our blood sugar levels in that normal range. When we have a problem, it means that our blood sugar levels are rising and the insulin, or the body's not able to regulate or keep that blood sugar level within that normal range. Either the insulin is not being produced at all, or it could be that it's just being produced and it's not working properly. We have those two types of diabetes that are listed here on this screen, type 1 diabetes. And we're not going to really focus on that because that one is the one that starts early on. It's usually as a child, usually it used to be referred to as juvenile diabetes or insulin dependent diabetes. So that one we're not going to focus on and that one is a chronic illness, and that's a lifelong illness or disease that people do deal with. But what we're going to talk about is type 2 diabetes today. And type 2 diabetes can also be referred to as insulin resistance. So what happens with type 2 diabetes is basically the same. We're eating our foods. The body is producing insulin, but it's not working properly. And so with that, we have to make sure that we are doing those things, like I mentioned earlier, physical activity. We're including those medications that have been prescribed for us, and we're managing our weight, right? So like I mentioned, diabetes means that the body's not either, it's producing the insulin, but it's not working properly. It's not working like it should to help keep those sugar levels in the normal range. And when that happens, what happens is that the blood sugar levels are staying high for so long that it can create other serious health problems for us later, like having vision problems, kidney disease, and heart disease. So that's why it's so important that we want to make sure that we follow up with our doctors, that we have those regular healthcare visits. So like I said, type 2 diabetes, it's usually in an onset of about the age of 45. It used to be, but now we're seeing more and more that people are acquiring it at a young age. You see children, young teens, young adults that are developing type 2 diabetes. And then there's also, I'll mention it really quick, but we're not going to even talk about that one really, but it is gestational diabetes. That is another type of diabetes. And the reason I'll say that is because that one is usually diagnosed, it's always diagnosed in women who are pregnant, but they can later develop it. It increases their chances if they're diagnosed with gestational diabetes to develop it later in life, and also the children or the babies that they're carrying at that time. Let me go on. Let's talk about some of the statistics. So in the United States, we have about 30.3 million people who have diabetes. And of that 30.3, there are 23.1 people who are diagnosed, and there's about 7.2 people who are not. So that's almost like 1 out of 4 people are diabetic, but they don't know that they're a diabetic. In New Jersey, we have about 905,000 people that are diagnosed with diabetes. And we have, and that's of the adult population, right? And there's also another statistic that's staggering. It's 7th leading cause of death in the United States. So it is very serious and something that we should all be aware of. And let me go to the next slide. And then we're going to talk about some of the risk factors for type 2 diabetes. So having a history of hyperglycemia, prediabetes, and or gestational diabetes, like I just mentioned earlier, will put you at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. Being overweight or being obese, being physically inactive is going to help increase your chances of developing type 2 diabetes. And being physically active could just be you taking a 30-minute walk, maybe 5 times out of the week if you can. You don't need to go to a gym. You don't need to join. You don't need to spend that money. And this is free. You can do this very easily. Having a risk factor with your genetics. Family history is one. Having a mom or dad, brother or sister that has been diagnosed with diabetes is going to increase your chances. Race and ethnicity, being African American, Latino, Asian population, Native Americans, they all have a higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. I mentioned age earlier. I mentioned being 45 and higher was usually the average age for developing type 2 diabetes. But again, we are seeing more younger and younger people developing. Also having other chronic illnesses like high blood pressure and high cholesterol. Those are some of the risk factors that will increase your chances of developing type 2 diabetes. Go to the next slide. Oh, this is a test that you can take, and it's just going to help you. I guess it's more like an indication for you if you wanted to take this test. I have the website. I don't know if maybe I can give that later. And that's something that you can just do on your own. So we're not going to go through that. That'll just take up a little bit too much time, but I'll provide that website or link for you. And then let's talk about some of the symptoms of type 2 diabetes. Being very thirsty, having frequent urination, your weight loss, having tingling or pain or numbness in your hands or feet, and blurry vision. Those are some of the symptoms that people could develop when they, with the type 2 diabetes. Sometimes you might not even experience any symptoms, but if you do, these are the ones that you will see or be experiencing. And this is the reason why you're going to reach out to your primary care physician. And you're going to schedule that appointment so that you can be diagnosed or maybe even rule it out even better, right? So let's say you're experiencing some of those symptoms, you call your doctor and the doctor sets you up for an appointment. He's going to have you take a test, a few different tests. There's a fasting plasma glucose test. And that one is basically having not had anything to eat for an 8-hour period. You're going to go in and even either have a blood draw at a lab, or people that are already diabetics, they do this in the mornings. Usually they'll get up, they'll stick their finger and they test their blood sugar early in the morning before they have anything to eat, right? So if your blood sugar at that time is under 99, but still be higher than 70, that's a normal blood sugar. If you fall anywhere between 100 and 125, that would indicate prediabetes. Anything higher than 126 would indicate diabetes. There's also an oral glucose tolerance test. Now that one I don't see often or hear of anyone usually getting that test unless they're pregnant. That's usually the one that they order for the pregnant moms, and they go in, you haven't eaten in the period of time and you have to drink a really sugary glucose containing beverage, and then they're checking your blood sugar that way. There's also a random blood or plasma glucose test, and that one, it doesn't matter whether you eat or not. You go in and you have the test, and then they're checking your the effect of that test that way. And that one usually is not offered for prediabetes. But then we have the one called the A1C. And that one is the most common test I think that we all know about. And that's the one that measures an average of your blood sugars over a 2 to 3 month period of time. Your doctor will have you do. And with the results of that, if you fall below 5.7, that's a normal A1C. If you're anywhere between 5.7 and 6.4, that would indicate prediabetes. Anything 6.5 or higher would indicate diabetes. So those are the tests or the diagnostic tools, tests that your doctor would have you do. Now, let's talk about steps to managing your diabetes. So you've gone in, you've been tested. Oh, the doctors at this point wants you to continue to do things to manage your diabetes. You want to, of course, make sure you talk to your doctor. You want to make sure that you are including other doctors maybe in your conversation, like a dentist. It could be a specialist, an endocrinologist, someone that would help you even further, specializes with that diabetes, a foot doctor, an eye doctor. There's a few of them that you can include in that. You want to also maybe include a dietitian, because we want to make sure that we're following a meal plan. We want to make sure that we're maybe watching the amount of carbohydrates that we're taking in a daily on a daily basis, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and a couple of snacks in there. Another tip is that I was talking to a dietitian that I met at the ShopRite. If any of you shop at a local ShopRite, or maybe even any other grocery store, if they have a dietitian that is on staff there, that is a service that's available to you and it's free. So that's a good thing that you can do. You can go in, and even if you don't have diabetes, if you wanted to start eating so much more healthier, you can go in and you can meet, and this is a free service to you. You also want to take medications if your doctor has prescribed them, and you want to be physically active. Remember I said it can just be taking a 30-minute walk 5 days a week, and that's going to be a big help. You want to also maybe talk to your friends and family, because I think a lot of us, diabetes is a big illness or disease that's affecting so many people that I'm sure we probably have friends or family that are also affected. So having a talk with them would be helpful. Let me go to the next one. And now it's about knowing your ABCs. And for ABCs, we talk about the A1C test. Remember, that's a diagnostic test that the doctor will order for you. But also, if you have now been diagnosed with the diabetes, you want to have a goal set. And usually your doctor is going to have that goal set to be less than 7. And he's going to probably have you take that test every 3 to 6 months. It's going to depend on your history, and it's going to depend on your doctor. So that's one that you want to monitor. You also want to look at your blood pressure. You're going to work with your doctor to set a blood pressure goal that is just right for you. And that's going to be checked every time you go in for your doctor visit, or if some of you are already diagnosed with high blood pressure, and you might even have a cuff at home, you're going to take that, blood pressure at home. C stands for cholesterol. We all have a goal that we set for ourselves, that should be set for ourselves, at having our total cholesterol under 200. Also, the test that your doctor might order for you, it's going to be broken down: triglycerides, your HDL, which is your good cholesterol, your LDL, which is your bad cholesterol. So your doctor's going to help you with maintaining those goals. And so that's why it's so important that you're going to be in communication with your doctors and other healthcare team members. And let's go to the next slide. So there's things that you want to remember. You want to remember that you are the most important member of your healthcare team. Because remember, you're the one who's going to be taking the medication, who's going to be managing your weight, who's going to be making sure that you eat more healthier, exercising, taking that walk. So you're the most important person on your healthcare team. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to mention, and I think I should have backed up with that one, but and said it before, but when you are diagnosed with diabetes, I think it's so important that when you do follow up with your doctor, that in between your taking your blood sugar levels, you want to document it. So, I mean, that's one of the ways that you're going to be able to see whether or not what you're doing is working. So, you know, as you take your blood sugars, you want to document them. Most of the machines now have a memory so that they're stored. So that's something easily that you can take into your doctor and say, here, look, this is how I've been doing in between. So your doctor can see how you're doing. So that's real important. I'm sorry, I missed that earlier. You want to also learn how to reach your diabetes goals, and that's by asking your healthcare team for help. So remember, I mentioned all those other doctors, family, pharmacists, all these people are important parts and pieces to you managing your diabetes and meeting those goals. So this slide just says that it has Medicare and diabetes. And if you are on Medicare and you have certain plans, you can check those plans and the coverages that you do have. Sometimes these are offered to you: diabetes education, supplies, medicine, and even visits with your dietitian. Also special shoes if you might need them. So that's certainly something that you can check and make sure that it's offered with the plan that you have. And next, we have resources that are available on horizonblue.com. So you don't have to be a member. You can just go in and sign on or go into horizonblue.com. You get the home page there, and there's an icon that looks like, I always say, it looks like a magnifying glass. You can click into that, and you want to put in that search diabetes. And once you click in diabetes, there is the first result that comes up. It's called Take Control of Your Diabetes. And what that shows you is just step by step, some of the things that you can do, some helpful tips and information that you can use for caring for your diabetes. So it'll start kind of like at the beginning. It'll show you what you might need to do at 3 months, what you should be doing at 6 months, 9 months, and then 1 year. So it's just, again, like helpful tips and information for you to help you care for your diabetes and manage and be the best that you can be. And that is the end of my presentation. Are there any questions for me?
Hi, Sandra. I do have a couple of questions. So one of the questions is, why do some people inject insulin versus taking a pill?
Oh, okay. So I would say because, and again, that's going to depend on you as a person individually and your doctor. But sometimes, like I said, when the foods that we eat, most of the foods that we eat are converted into sugar. So like I said, it's going to depend on you and your body, how your body is able to produce enough insulin. It might be that it's producing enough insulin. It's not working as well as it should be. So maybe I just need to take a pill to help me along with that, as well as following my diet, making sure I'm eating healthier, including physical activity, and taking the medication as prescribed. But then some people need a little bit more help and they have to take the insulin as well.
Okay.
It just means that they need that extra help.
Okay. Someone said, thank you for the great tip on the registered dietitian at ShopRite. I've actually heard that myself as well, that is available.
Yeah.
Not every ShopRite, but again, if you call and
Right.
ask, that's great. That's great tip.
Right. Yes. Call and ask if that service, if they have a dietitian on staff, then they should be able to help you with that. And like I said, any check and see if it's any other grocery store that you visit.
Yeah, that's true. And then we will get that website from you for that questionnaire.
Yes.
And I will include that in the email that goes out as a follow-up. So I will get that from you.
Okay, great.
And I have a question that just came in. What is a normal blood pressure? Because I think those guidelines have actually changed recently, right? For what's considered high blood pressure.
Well,
So
right. Now, the last that I know, like last year, I know they really changed last year. So what they look for, they want to have a more normal blood pressure to be under 120/80, right? That's more normal. But of course, it changes as we get older, right? So something for me or something for someone much younger might be different for you, someone being older. So again, that's something that you would be monitoring along with your doctor. But it's going to depend. So more now they look at if you have consistent blood pressure over 130/90, that's going to be considered high blood pressure. That's what they're looking at now. It used to be 140/90
right.
a year ago. So now they're looking more 130/90. They're thinking that is just a little bit too high. And if it's consistent, then definitely there needs to be an intervention, like less salt in your diet. Again, exercise is always in there. And the visits with your doctor so that they're monitoring that for you. And maybe medication if it needs to be ordered and taken.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna come back on camera. So I think the material that you presented today and Captain McCafferty, healthcare team, logging, meal planning, my plate, all the things that we talk about in our diabetes self-management program that we offer. So I know Andrew's going to come on and talk a little bit about that, but both presentations were great tie-ins today for, again, November being Diabetes Self-Awareness Month. So I appreciate your time today, Sandra. Thank you for joining us. And again, happy holidays. I can't believe I'm saying that already, but the holidays.
I know. Yes, thank you. I miss you guys.
I know. Well, hopefully we'll see you soon in person, Sandra. Be good, okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
I look forward to that.
Good. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Miss Andrea, what would you like to share with us?
Oh, yes. Well, first of all, Mary Beth, yes.
Everything was
November,
great. Yes, material. Yes.
November is National
Diabetes Awareness Month.
Diabetes Awareness Month. And it's a huge problem, not just in this country, but it's a huge problem in New Jersey. And SCAN has been offering diabetes self-management workshops for, I'm going to say about 4 or 5 years now. Let me share my screen for a moment. I do have something to share. course I do. So first of all, you know, I am the program director at SCAN. I'm also a master trainer in these specific classes: diabetes self-management, chronic disease self-management, and cancer survive and thrive. I'm a master trainer, meaning that I have taken, I've been certified by a particular organization in California. This curriculum was created originally at Stanford University in California about 20 years ago originally. And so SCAN has been offering free workshops to Monmouth County residents, actually age 55 plus. That's a typo right there. And I know that Sandra just shared some stats, but you know what? I'm going to share a little bit more. Diabetes is epidemic in the United States, and that fact that 34 million Americans have diabetes. Now, in New Jersey, approximately 9.2 of the adult population are actually diagnosed with diabetes. That's pretty amazing right there. And then there's a lot of people who have diabetes, but it's going undiagnosed because they've just, for whatever reason, have not dealt with it. Diabetes is a very expensive disease, you know, in terms of dollars in New Jersey and in the country. So you have diabetes, let's say, or you're pre-diabetic, you've been diagnosed. Sandra and our nutritionists from CareOne gave some great ideas, but the problem for a lot of people, you need more, you need a little bit more attention, you need a little more guidance. Not everyone is a good self-manager. So our diabetes workshop is called Diabetes Self-Management Program. It is actually recognized by the American Diabetes Association. We think that's a big deal. I'm one of the facilitators. In fact, so is Mary Beth. It's not me and Mary Beth telling you what to do. It's the American Diabetes Association, as well as other people who had input from Stanford University, all kinds of doctors and healthcare workers. So this program meets, well, right now, of course, everything is online. That goes without saying. We meet for roughly 2 hours a week. We meet for 6 sessions, and everything is done online over Zoom. It's pretty painless, but I want to just go over something here because many people don't really know what we mean when we talk about self-management. I think this is really the key to everything. Self-management, self-control, self-regulation. This is a problem, not just for people with diabetes. This is a problem for a lot of people. But self-management is everything that happens to you during the day. All of the things that you do to yourself or don't do to yourself, this is your self-management. And so our goal here is just to help you become better self-managers so that you can manage your diabetes. Managing your diabetes, that's what we're trying to help you with. In our program, we offer what we call a diabetes self-management toolbox. And I'm not going to read through the whole thing. You can see it up on the screen, but these are all the different tools that we talk about during our 6 weeks. I do want to point out that healthy eating and physical activity are the top 2 things you can do as a good self-manager. On the bottom, it says working with your health professionals, because you know what? We are not healthcare workers. We make no claims in that direction. Our expertise is giving you information and helping you with this information. We're looking to help you understand things that you can do to be a good self-manager. But of course, you must work in conjunction with your healthcare professionals. That's a given. We are going to have a lot of these self-management workshops coming up in 2021, which is right around the corner. But I have one starting Monday. Actually, it's Monday night from 6 to 8 p.m. I still have a few slots left in that workshop if anyone is interested. again, anyone 55 and older, if you're a Monmouth County resident, or even if you're not, just call the office and you can go ahead and register.
And Andrea, just wanted to add, on our homepage on our website, we do have a flyer with that information.
Yes.
So if anyone participating in today's webinar wants to look at it and share it with someone, please do that. That would be wonderful.
You know what I want to emphasize, this workshop, it's great for people obviously who have diabetes, but it's also excellent if you're pre-diabetic and you need to have a better understanding so you don't cross that threshold. And perhaps you're a caretaker or you have a family member who has diabetes, and maybe you're cooking for the family and you want to understand more about nutrition, healthy eating, that sort of thing. These are all things that we would cover in the workshop. So what I'm saying is it's not just for someone who has diabetes. You're also going to get a book, and if you can see this, Living a Healthy Lifestyle with Chronic Conditions. This book, the book is excellent. It's like, think of it as a companion book. And by the way, everything that we're offering is free. So there's no issue with that. You get the book. You get, again, not that we're experts in diabetes or anything medical. What we do is provide you with information to make you a better self-manager so you can manage your diabetes and take care of your health, live your best life. That's our goal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we have a session that's ongoing now, and we're almost wrapping that up and looking forward to starting on Monday.
Right. So thank you for that.
Good. So I thank everyone for joining us today. I hope you have a beautiful day ahead, and it looks like we've got some nice weather in the forecast. So get out there and enjoy the sunshine, and we will see you all again on December 3rd. That is our final virtual lunch and learn for 2020.
Okay. Thank you all.
So Andrew, do we have a screen to put up just at the end at all?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
And again, I will send out that website with that questionnaire so everyone can do their diabetes questionnaire.
If you want, this is the contact information for the speakers today. Also reminding everyone listening that we are recording this webinar, and it will be on SCAN's YouTube channel. We'll send a link to everyone who came today, should you want to go through the information again.
Yep. Okay. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Andrea, have a good day.
Thank you. Bye, Mary Beth.